Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Inside the Big Dynasty Leagues, the only show about the Big Dynasty Leagues. With me, as always, is the commish, Clyde Randall Waters, and back off the IR is the accountant, Alan Henley.
So, I thought it was the auditor.
Is it the auditor?
I thought it was the auditor. The accountant, the auditor, we can do whatever one you prefer.
Look, you weren't here.
But I wasn't here, so...
And I didn't remember what it was.
But that's okay.
The auditor. The accountant's that movie with Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that
the auditor.
Honestly, though, if this goes much longer, I think he might just be the stat man.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'm ready to live up to that.
Well, nobody else is, so...
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second show of the year. Talking about Week 2, previewing Week 3.
Week 2!
First off, a big congratulations to ADL franchise owner Hayden Horner, who got married this weekend, way above his weight class. She's amazing. I guess weight class is maybe the wrong term. She's not a large woman.
No, by no means.
She's very small and petite, actually, and I didn't mean it that way.
And Hayden's a very large man.
He is.
He definitely won the deal.
For her to be above his weight class.
I'm just saying she's much more attractive than I thought he would do. She's great.
She's out of his league, even though he's in our league.
That's true. That's what I meant. Out of his league, not out of his weight class. Also, congratulations to Joel. Welcome back from your honeymoon, sir, into the land of fantasy football.
Hey, and have you guys heard? The fire sale is on.
Oh, yeah.
Woo, man. It took him to Week 3.
He made it to Week 3.
Joel gets married, goes on a honeymoon, comes back, and he's all ready to sell it all away.
Why not? What a time.
Hey.
It's only Week 2.
We'll see what happens.
Just got through it.
Why not start it now?
Also, we had this week was our first doubleheader week. We got another one coming up this week. So this is a really big test for your team pretty early on. Ain't that right, Commish?
Yeah, that is right. If you don't hit the ground running in these doubleheader weeks, you can really fall behind trying to go through the rest of the season. You want to shoot for that clean sweep each week, but at least you got to try to pull that split. Get that 1-1. But, it's how it works. Week 2, Week 3, come out of the gate, doubleheader weeks, and then
boom, boom.
It's easy sailing until Week 13. Last week of the regular season, the next doubleheader week.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into some interesting matchups from the leagues this week. Let's start off, Auditor, with the ADL.
The ADL.
It's in the game.
So this week, I think what we said was the matchup of the week for the ADL.
Matchup of the week
was the Smitty Werber Jagerman Jensen's.
What was that?
The Smitty Werber Jagerman Jensen's.
Huh?
Oh, the Smitty Werber Jagerman Jensen's got me
time?
on the third one. One more time? I can do it. The Smitty Werber Jagerman Jensen's. That's all we're
they're
doing.
number one.
They are number one. And the Live Fantasy Association.
I've been told that that's a SpongeBob reference. Although I've never seen an episode
Live
of SpongeBob.
Fantasy Association?
No,
No, the Smitty. What is it?
Smitty, Morgan, Jaegerman, Van Fifth.
Yeah, that is a SpongeBob reference. It's a good one.
I don't understand live fantasy association.
Yeah, I don't either.
Live as in like...
So you mean like he's just like
living?
really
Like,
cool?
or live. Like, oh, yo, that's live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's
I don't
live.
And association, doesn't that imply that there's like a group of like more than one?
So is Jack actually not running his team? Is he a conglomerate of people?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, who cares?
Anyway,
He lost, so it doesn't really matter.
Jack did lose, so even if he's using the conglomerate of people, he needs to get rid of them. Let's see what happened this week. For the Smitty, Werber, Yegerman, Jensen's, Saquon Barkley did what he does best.
Oh, yeah.
Running and catching passes. Put up 22.5 points. He also had Kenny Golladay go off this week for 25.7 points. He had a huge catch in the end zone, helping, I believe, Detroit won this week.
Yes.
Over the Chargers.
That was a crazy game. I did not expect the game to go that way. I thought it was going to be a little bit higher scoring than it was. But, yeah, no. Not many people did much for Detroit, but Kenny Golladay did a lot.
Yep. And then Russell Wilson, he's just going to put up points. It doesn't matter if he's running for his life back there. He'll find the open man.
Yep.
And then Justin Tucker, the number 2 kicker in the league, is putting up points. And when we look at the Live Fantasy Association, he put up 130 points, which I would say is close to about an average score. You put up 130 points, you're probably going to go 1-1 in a doubleheader week, and you couldn't ask for much more than that. But I don't know. I think maybe he could have won this game if he didn't do something else before this week began.
Yeah, I feel like last week he was really strong in a lot of areas. This week he seems to be lacking in that running back spot. Chris Carson, not the Chris Carson of week 1. And then Tariq Cohen, I got a feeling Tariq Cohen's going to be very hit or miss depending on what the Bears decide to do throughout the season. Very boom or bust. And then James Conner, I think we're seeing the new norm for James Conner. 13 points.
Yep.
You never know. We'll see what happens now that there's some shakeup going on in Pittsburgh. They might be leaning even more on Conner, but
which could be a problem.
It could be a problem.
And I think the scary thing is Antonio Brown's not there. You don't have that guy where the defense is scared. They're gonna stack 7-8 guys in the box. And he had Dalvin Cook and Damian Williams on his team that he has recently traded. We'll cover that here in a minute. And I think having Dalvin Cook, I think this game is all but a 1-point game. He scored 20-something points this week, and you replaced Tariq Cohen.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. I mean, 133 points is, like you said, it's about average for what this league format goes. I'll tell you this. If your team isn't consistently scoring at 130 points or above, your shot at making the playoffs is probably pretty slim. And he did go against the Smitty, Werber, Yegerman, Jensen's, who last year went on a streak. I think they won their first 7 or 8 games straight. They were setting scoring records each week. They kept a huge part of that core from last season. They're a formidable team coming back from last season. So it was a heck of a matchup. Give it to Smitty. And, we'll look at that trade in a little bit to see if Live Fantasy Association maybe made a mistake.
Yeah. And then there was one other game in the ADL, and really it was one franchise, but we saw something else happen. The Fast and the Furious this week put up 205.28 points.
One could say they were too fast, too furious.
One could say.
They were drifting like they were in Tokyo through and making points.
Yes.
205 points probably puts them, what? Somewhere around the top 5 scoring in all the leagues.
Furious 6.
It's definitely top 5 in the ADL.
Top 5 in the ADL for sure.
However, that's not why we want to talk about this matchup.
No.
205 points, that's impressive. Good job, Terry. Nice way to put a solid team together for week 2. But the reason we want to talk about this matchup is the point spread between the Fast and Furious and the team they beat, the Harrison Bullfrogs.
Ooh.
The Harrison Bullfrogs put up 70.34 points. This was a margin of victory of 135 points for the Fast and Furious.
We used to do the discount double up reference, right? This was almost
a triple
up.
Almost.
I mean, we're 5 points away from I don't know, I guess a discount triple up. I don't know. Like
triple stack.
Man.
Yeah.
We got to get to the stat man or get the auditor here to do some more digging. But I'm pretty sure, I'm just come out and say it. This is the largest margin of victory I think we've ever seen in either league.
Yeah, it's got to be around there.
I agree. Prove me wrong.
It's crazy. The Harrison Bullfrogs went with a bold strategy this year. On their drafting, they have somewhere $80 in cap space right now. They had multiple players score not even a point. Their defense is the Washington defense, so
there's just nothing worth talking about.
There's just nothing here.
So let's transition to the BDL game of the week that we want to highlight. Kamish, what is that one?
Whoa. Where are we going?
To the BDL game.
The BDL.
Oh,
sir.
Sorry.
No, we haven't talked about it yet.
Whoa. I was not prepared for that.
We switched really
here.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, the BDL matchup of the week that we're going to look at here was Get Off Me!
Get off me!
Versus Wet Stuff on Your Red Stuff.
That's a thing.
Still not sure if that's supposed to be a sex joke or
A fireman
what.
joke.
Anyways, in this matchup here, we had a close one. Not a close shave, but a close matchup here with Wet Stuff on Your Red Stuff pulling away the victory, beating Get Off Me 110.3 to 101.56.
Yeah, both of these teams fell victim to that Falcon or the Philadelphia Eagles wide receivers dying this week. Both had a Eagles receiver have 0 points. The thing that's worrisome for Joel right now, maybe why he's looking at a fire sale, is Christian McCaffrey doesn't look very good. He had a good first week, but I don't know. And then on top of that, Mike Evans has had 2 mediocre weeks. Definitely a heavy favorited team coming in and has not started off very well.
And then Juju as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Not doing well in Pittsburgh right now. Yeah, I mean, it's surprising. I mean, the odds on Get Off Me going into the season were high. Were very high. A lot of the pundits out there had Get Off Me picked to be the champion this year. But a lot of us also knew there was a good shot somebody was going to screw it up. Well, on the flip side of this matchup, Wet Stuff and Your Red Stuff, joined the league, 3, maybe 4 seasons ago. Hasn't really done much. Hasn't been able to make a run. Has been playing pretty scrappy. Just looking for those trades, looking for those waiver wire pickups. Totally, completely ignoring the taxi squad and their Devi picks. But they've managed to put together a little bit of a team this year, and by getting some really good matchups to start off the season, they're 3-0.
Yeah, and I think this team is really anchored by their 3 running backs in Josh Jacobs, Ezekiel Elliott, and Phillip Lindsay. They have looked good this year, the 3 of them. Even Phillip Lindsay splitting time with Royce Freeman. That's 3 really good running backs to have on your team. Their wide receivers, I think, this year are going to be hit or miss. We'll see how that goes with Julian Edelman having to split time with Antonio Brown. If Antonio Brown still gets to play, we'll see how that plays out. But Mohamed Sanu, Alshon Jeffrey, there's a lot of wide receivers in those 2 teams, in the Falcons and Eagles, that the ball can be spread around to. So we'll see how that goes. I think what's interesting is, this team won by almost about 9 points, right? And Dustin Hopkins for Joel for Get Off Me had 3 points, whereas Justin Tucker for Wet Stuff on Your Red Stuff had 13. So you could maybe say that the kicker had a difference in this year matchup. Ooh. Those of you who want to say kickers don't matter.
And guess who wants no kickers because he doesn't think they matter or sway anything at all? That would be Get Off Me. Get off me! Get off me! Get off me! All right, let's get off that topic and move on to the MVPs of the week.
MVPs of the week.
MVPs of the week.
All right, we got in the role of quarterback, we got Patrick Mahomes.
My boy, my homie.
With 38.62 points. The boy is just amazing. Who we got for running back this week, Kamish?
Well, this week in running back, we have Dalvin Cook.
That's my boy right there.
Putting up 28.1 points. Finally, after so many years, starting to look like the number one running back we all thought he could be. Don't forget, though, people, it's week 2. We'll see how this goes. I don't think he's had a season yet where he's been able to stay healthy through the entire season.
I will say, on tape, he looks crazy fast. I don't know if they're watching it.
You watching tape now?
Well, I was watching the game.
Anyways,
It was digital. So
Alan, tell us about the wide receiver of the week.
Wide receiver of the week comes out of nowhere, and DeMarcus Robinson out of the Kansas City Chiefs. I guess taking that role for Tyreek Hill while he's absent, making a name for himself. So, shout out to him, DeMarcus Robinson, with 35.2 points this week.
Woo!
25.2 points is what our tight end has done this week. Mark Andrews out of Baltimore, putting up some points.
He has looked good this year.
Next up, we got the superstar of the week, the kicker. Who are we taking a look at, Kamish?
One I've never heard of. Joey Sly.
That's right, Joey Sly.
From Carolina.
That's right, guys.
16 points. 16 points for one Joey Sly.
A grown man that wants to go by the name Joey.
I've never heard of this guy.
He is, I don't know if he's a rookie or if he's kicked before, but I believe he's a rookie kicker, and he's coming in for Graham Gano, who is currently on the IR in Carolina. So, maybe going to keep his job because he's kicking lights out. Those kickers kick, man.
And then with our defense, one of the might be the top scorer of the week. Who are we giving this
There's
one
no
to?
might. They are.
They are the top scorer of the week. Who are we giving it to? Auditor?
The Patriots. They played the Dolphins. They scored 47 points this week.
They had like 2 or 3 defensive touchdowns.
They had 2 straight pick sixes.
Yeah.
What
are you going to do? It's Miami.
It's Miami. Yeah.
And it's the Patriots.
Miami didn't score.
Tom Brady didn't even break a sweat in this game.
I don't know if anybody on the
Did you watch some of the game? It truly looked like they were playing a preseason game. Like half speed. They weren't even trying that hard.
Yeah, it was.
Ooh,
yeah. I mean,
Miami.
Tom Brady scored a rushing touchdown this week. I mean, it was on the goal line, just QB sneak, but a rushing touchdown. Tom Brady. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of crazy things, we had a trade this week in the ADL that was pretty crazy.
Whoa.
You did.
Let's go to the auditor to quickly break it down for us.
Quickly break it down. All right. So this involves Rip Flash Gordon. Don is our owner of that team, and the Live Fantasy Association, which is Jack. Rip Flash Gordon gave up Tariq Cohen, James Conner, Robbie Anderson, Amari Cooper, and Cortland Sutton. And the Live Fantasy Association gave up Dalvin Cook, Damian Williams, Tyreek Hill, 2021st, a 2022nd, and a 2021 second. When you look at this, first initial signs were, what the heck is Rip Flash Gordon doing? I mean, this is terrible. They're just shipping their entire core to the Live Fantasy Association. But maybe this isn't as bad as we thought initially.
What?
I know. When you look at it at the end of the day, he gets Tyreek Hill, he gets Dalvin Cook, and Tyreek Hill's hurt, and he's hurt for a couple more weeks. But if he comes back, and he comes back as Tyreek Hill, the number 1 wide receiver, and he's 3-0 right now. If he comes back and he's still playing well in the division, he has Tyreek Hill.
I mean, he's the only undefeated team in
the ADL. On top of that, he has Dalvin Cook, who this year has looked phenomenal. And then Damian Williams. Damian Williams hasn't looked great. He looked really good in week 1, looked okay last week. Obviously, they just slung the ball around.
Oh, they slung it.
Pat Mahomes wasn't going to hand the ball off. So we'll see how Damian Williams shapes up. The big issue when you look at this is that Rip Flash Gordon took on a ton of cap.
Tons of cap.
Yeah, they took on like $81, whereas the Live Fantasy Association only took on somewhere in the $60 range, so it was almost a $20 difference. But Rip Flash Gordon also got a bunch of Devy picks. So when you look at this trade actually ends up being pretty fair. The nice thing, though, is that Live Fantasy Association has James Conner for $10, and if it's the James Conner of last year, I think he was the number 6 running back, if they can figure him out. They have Tariq Cohen, who was the number 11 running back, I believe, and if they figure that out, he has 2 stud running backs, and he had Amari Cooper, and the Cowboys look phenomenal this year.
Phenomenal.
So,
also, Cortland Sutton.
I love Cortland Sutton.
He is a specimen out there in Denver catching those balls. If Denver can get their offense together and get rid of Joe Flacco and actually get a quarterback in there, Cortland Sutton is going to be a huge pickup. A $4 salary, too.
Easy keep, yeah. $4 salary, so...
Yeah, some conversations I've had with these franchise owners as this trade was being brokered. Rip Flash Gordon, Don, he feels he can make a run this year.
Yeah.
It's early in the season, it's week 2, but he is 3-0, putting up some good points, and he's picked up some studs.
Kind of doing the opposite of a fire sale.
Yeah, I've heard rumblings that he even possibly wants to pick up another wide receiver this year.
I've heard
possibly
that too.
AB, maybe somebody else.
He's clearly decided that he's all in on this season.
Yeah.
After this season, he's probably going to be going into a rebuilding phase. Going to have a lot of salary to have to cut. On the other hand, though, with the Live Fantasy Association, they picked up what could be the core of their team for a few seasons to come.
Yep.
Some quality players, top 10 players in each of their position groups that are at a salary which are amazing, honestly. James Conner at $10, Cortland Sutton at $4. Amari Cooper, even at $33 for the price that we know wide receivers go out in this league, that's actually a pretty good deal.
Even Robbie Anderson at $4 doesn't look that bad once Sam Darnold gets back.
All right.
Sam Darnold is needed, but
Speaking of Sam Darnold being out, let's take a look at the injuries this week.
Ooh, injury report.
We have a lot of injuries this week, mostly quarterbacks, unfortunately. Big ones right off the gate here. Ben Roethlisberger, Rapistberger, whatever it is, out for the year with a right elbow UCL tear. I think it's going to actually end his career.
is that what is required for Tommy John surgery? Anybody?
I don't know.
I know he did come out and say that he's not done. He wants to keep playing.
Well, a couple years ago he said he's thinking about retiring, so
We'll see.
who knows? We got Drew Brees out for at least 6 weeks with a right thumb UCL tear.
Yeah.
Or sprain, sorry.
And that puts Teddy Bridgewater stepping at the helm down there in New Orleans.
And will they use Taysom Hill the same?
I don't know. Will they? The question is, how will this impact our guys such as Michael Thomas, Jared Cook, and
Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara. We'll see. We'll see. Definitely check those players out if you own them after Drew Brees is out for probably 6 weeks.
Yeah, and if you're looking to replace Ben, Mason Rudolph is the one who's replacing him on the team. I don't know if it's worth replacing him with that in fantasy. Next up, we got Trevor Siemian. He's out. He was taken over for Sam Darnold, who's out.
Luke Falk takes
the
over.
Jets are down to the 3rd string quarterback or picking somebody up. Not going to be good.
Yeah.
A couple more real quick because, like I said, there was a bunch. Devin Singletary.
My man.
He's week to week with a left hamstring strain. And then James Conner is week to week with a left knee hyperextension and a bone bruise on his knee. Damian Williams is also day-to-day.
LaShawn
McCoy day-to-day.
And what's Kansas City going to do in their backfield right now?
Dorian Thompson.
Josh Jacobs week to week.
Throw one of their wide receivers back there. I don't know.
But yeah. So a lot of
those
week to
Eagles
week
players: Alshon Jeffrey week to week, Deshaun Jackson week to week. There's Dallas Goedert week to week. So many people on this report this week.
Yeah, make sure check when you're setting your lineup. Make sure to check your injury report. Make sure your guys are going to play this week.
If you're playing me, don't check.
Yeah, because this is a doubleheader week. So
you hear that, Mike?
No, yeah, I heard you.
Don't check.
I'm going to check anyway.
You too, Mr. Statman.
All right.
Be here. Don't check your statuses.
We got ourselves about 5 minutes left in the show. Let's take a look at a preview of Week 3. We got a matchup in both leagues we want to take a look at. Commish, why don't you take a look at the Rip Flash Gordon versus the Mixon administration from the ADL.
All right. So in the ADL Week 3, a key matchup is Rip Flash Gordon versus the Mixon administration. We have Rip Flash Gordon, who is 3-0, the only undefeated team in the ADL currently, going against last year's ADL champions. Woo!
What a matchup.
I will say right now, it's preliminary. Full lineups aren't out yet. But as it stands right now, the Mixon administration is looking at about a 30 to 40 point lead over Rip Flash Gordon. Some things to note here about this. Rip Flash Gordon, led by Dalvin Cook in Week 2, 28 points. Also had Danny Williams, but they're questionable, as we just talked about. We'll see if Dalvin Cook can repeat this here in Week 3. Then the Mixon administration actually kind of struggled in Week 2. Didn't even put up 100 points, but they're projected at 157 points for Week 3. And they're going to be looking for some of their key players, such as Christian McCaffrey and Marlon Mack and Deshaun Watson, to bounce back this week to have big games in this heavily high firepower matchup they got going on here. It's going to be exciting to see. Can Rip Flash Gordon stay undefeated? Can the Mixon administration defend their title run for this year? It's going to be an awesome matchup for a doubleheader week in the ADL.
All right, let's take a look at the BDL matchup we want to take a look at. The Niners versus Wet Stuff. Auditor, what do you got quickly for me, sir?
Yeah, so this matchup is projected to be close. I believe this is two undefeated teams going at each other in the San Francisco 69ers and Wet Stuff on Your Red Stuff. It also seems to be a matchup of two sex jokes, so we'll see which one's the best. I know. When you look at the 69ers, you have Dak Prescott, who has looked very, very good this year, and Todd Gurley, who has played well, along with Amari Cooper, who Dak's throwing a lot to Amari, so that's a good quarterback wide receiver tandem to have. D.D. Westbrook's looked okay with Gardner Minshew, the stash thrown at him. So we'll see what happens there. When you look at Wet Stuff on Your Red Stuff, his team is a team that you don't see like big names. You see Zeke and you see Matt Ryan. Other than that, it's just a bunch of guys who get catches and get some points. Mm-hmm. When you're looking at the likes of Phillip Lindsay, Julian Edelman, possibly Alshon Jeffrey if he's playing this week, Jarvis Landry. They're not huge names, but they're names that go out there, catch a lot of passes, get a lot of points. Right now, it is projected that the San Francisco 69ers have 148.67, and Wet Stuff on Your Red Stuff is looking at 141.92. So we'll see how this plays out. This could be a possible close shave of the week.
Ooh, close shave of the week.
All right.
Exciting. All right.
We got 1 minute left here. Just real quick, we got the Chili Slingers versus the Unseen Academicals in the BDL. Neither have won a game yet, so someone's going to get off the undefeated train, so that's exciting for them. I could still stay on it. But yeah, it is a doubleheader week, so be sure to set your lineups. Get your picks in, the NFL pick'ems for money.
I just have to comment before we go at the end of the show. Mike.
Oh my gosh, Mike.
You are second in points scored in the BDL right now, but you are 0-3.
This is almost correct. The opposite of when you were in the ADL and you had the least amount of points, yet you made the playoffs. Well, you're in the reverse now. You got to bring those together.
I'm hoping it'll work out. We got 10 seconds left. Set your lineups. Get your picks in. Have fun out there.
Make your picks.
Make
Set
your picks.
Goodbye.
See ya.